Right now is Stephen Palte, Dr. Stephen Palte. He is the Chief Medical Officer for the UnitedHealthcare of Georgia. Dr. Palte, welcome to the show.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As we start to get into these summer months, we know that it can become oppressive around here, especially when we talk about the humidity. We have an extended period of 90-degree temperatures, so we're entering into what we call a heat wave. So what is your advice for families trying to balance the benefits of getting inside and not exposing themselves to too much sun exposure?
Well, I think important to, if you're going to be outside, try and avoid the heat of the day, the middle of the day. Try and get out early when it's still a little bit cooler. That's always a great tip to take. But if you are going to be outside, everybody likes to be outdoors in this warmer weather. Very important to keep yourself very well hydrated. Especially trying to avoid those sodas and sports drinks. And if you're out there, rather drink water. And if you're at home and coming indoors intermittently, especially with children, things like homemade smoothies with coconut water or milk or yogurt can be a good option for them to keep well hydrated. Just very important to keep that hydration up.
Explain to us why water would be more important. We see the ads with all these sports drinks, maybe, for kids, that would be more of the attraction. But why is water more important?
Well, I think water, you want to try and avoid all those sugary drinks, which are, are not very healthy for you in the long term. Mm-hmm. And also water is, it's much more freely available, and it just really rehydrates you a lot better than those sports drinks. Those are really more adapted for adults who are doing activities. For children, things like water is a lot more beneficial.
Is it healthy for you to take breaks? We always tell people, when you're going to be outside and you have to work outside, to take breaks. Is that harder on your body, or does that do your body really good?
No, you really do need to take breaks, and if possible, try and get indoors or to some shaded area to try and avoid the heat and the sun. Also very important to make sure if you are outdoors to be wearing sunscreen. Wear sunglasses, long sleeves if you're able to, a hat, and use a sunscreen that's at least, sun protection factor 15 or higher. And very important with sunscreen is to reapply it every 2 hours. And for those people who like to swim a lot, when you get out of the water and dry off, really need to reapply that sunscreen right away.
Is there other things that people need to know, especially heading to the pool? You talked about the sunscreen, but what about, preventing drownings, things like that? A lot of people will be heading to the water.
Correct, yeah, especially if you're going to be doing any water sports, you really need to be wearing life jackets anytime that you're near the water. Also for children, obviously you want to try and enroll them in swimming lessons. Keep a very close eye on children when they're in the swimming pool, because drowning is one of the leading causes of death for children 1 to 4. And also, it's a great tip for parents to take a CPR class, so that if there is somebody who's in distress or has an event at a swimming pool, that they are trained and know how to deal with that.
Speaking of distress, how do you know when you're in distress? How do you know you're suffering from dehydration or heat exhaustion or those things? What are signs that we need to look out for?
Well, obviously, children are more susceptible to that. But things that can happen is you can have a little bit of confusion. They may seem to be acting a little bit strange. Often the mucous membranes will seem dry, and they'll be slurring their words or can't quite get the words out correctly. They also, may stop sweating, especially in the hot weather. So those are all signs to look for. But again, just keep taking those breaks in cool weather or in cool environment or in the water. And drinking plenty of liquids can really try and avoid that.
I think there is a myth out there that people that look like me, darker skinned people, don't have to apply sunscreen. I know that it's a myth. Talk to me about that and how often we need to apply it.
Everybody needs to be using sunscreen, because skin cancer, more skin cancers are diagnosed than all the other cancers combined every year. So, wow. And most of the skin cancers are related to sun exposure. So everybody needs to be wearing sunscreen. And especially, SPF 15 or greater, and reapplication is very important. People forget to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we need to stay as safe as possible. Anything else we need to know as parents with our children on days like this? Because I know when I was younger, my mother used to shoo me outside, just get outside and play all day. Anything else we need to know as parents to watch out for our children?
I think that I think that's a great point. Try and get kids, to go outside and avoid, a lot of use of screens, computers, iPads, things like that,
Hmm.
because it has been shown that prolonged use of screens in children does lead to nearsightedness in the long term. So really very important to try and limit that time, especially in the summer when it's so nice to be out there and doing activities.
Let me one more point. One more point. The children and shades. Is that important as well? I mean, does that sun exposure to your eyes, would that lead to long-term issues maybe for kids?
Yeah, it is important. Obviously, very small children, it's very hard for them to keep any kind of sun protection on, any sunglasses. But as children get older and they are able to keep sunglasses on, that's very important. Also, wearing a hat is really very important to try and shade those exposed areas, especially, that are vulnerable on the top of the head and the back of the neck.
There you go. All right. Dr. Stephen Palte, Chief Medical Officer with UnitedHealthcare of Georgia. Really appreciate you being with us today, and thanks for those tips.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now